Hello. Today we are talking about how to use Pinterest to grow your email list. So if you're going to catch the replay of this, I will definitely be posting this on my account. And also bear with me because I want to share my screen. I want to be able to talk to you, so this might be a little interesting. All right, so I want to show you, earlier this week, I talked about how I gained 6 email followers in one day, and within a span of a week, without doing like any sort of camera, face-to-camera, or any sort of promotion on my Instagram or other media, I gained 15 email subscribers based off one pin on Pinterest. So I just kind of wanted to show you my process of how I use Pinterest to grow my email list. But first I kind of just want to back up and explain 2 things. So one, like, why do I want to grow my email list, right? And why do I want to use Pinterest? So first, why Pinterest? So I am not that comfortable yet on camera. I'm not, and I also just wanted a platform where I just didn't have to personally promote something myself. So I chose Pinterest to kind of do the promoting for me, and I'll just kind of show you how that works. And then my email list is, I wanted a more direct way to contact people who were interested in the content that I'm putting out, right? So I think email is a really great way to do that. It's more direct one-to-one contact with people. You end up in their mailbox. It is also, you get to choose when you're pushing something out versus relying on Instagram to show your content to people that might care about your topic. And also Pinterest, you're relying on people to actually go to Pinterest and search for something. This way, once they're on your email list, it is a direct one-to-one contact, and you decide who gets pushed what content and who you share your information with. So I think that's really powerful when you're starting your business, and that was, first of all, that's just sort of my goal here, right? Was to, how do I leverage Pinterest to help me grow my email list while I'm still getting comfortable with other strategies on how to grow that. So step 1, I created content that I was interested in and that I thought was valuable. So what that looks like is I decided to write a blog about Instagram Reels. So I'm going to flip the camera here if I could figure that out. Okay. So I'm going to go to my blog and I'll show you that. So the topic was 3 irresistible Instagram Reel call to actions. So that's what the blog was about, was Instagram Reel call to actions. So how do you get people to read your caption and to take more action when they are viewing your reel? So instead of just simply watching the video, clicking like and scrolling on, how do you get people to stop and take action on your post, and to dig deeper, and to look into the comments, and to look into your caption, to click on your link in bio, to lead them somewhere else? So I thought this was super valuable. Short form video is on all of the platforms: YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. This is all relevant. Call to actions on video is all relevant to that. So if I scroll down here, then I have a short blog and showing them. So nothing too special. And then if I scroll all the way to the bottom, this I added way later. So I'm going to get to how I decided to add this later. But it's just a short blog. And honestly, I chose a blog, but for you, this could be a podcast. This could be an email. This could be a YouTube video. This could be a reel in itself of showing people how to do this. I just chose blog format. So for this to go onto Pinterest, you literally just need a hyperlink. You don't need it doesn't need to be a blog is sort of my point there, right? This format could really be anything, but I chose a blog. So then we go over step 2 is I wanted to use Pinterest to promote this, right? So if I go over to Pinterest, here on my Pinterest, what did I do? So I did this back in like October, November. I have these 3 pins right here. So I took my blog title and then I created a couple different graphics out in Canva and I posted them on my Pinterest account. Okay. So there's a few things here. Was one, just the keywords are important, right? So call to actions, Instagram Reels, those are 2 different types of keywords, and using them together was important. So anybody coming out to Pinterest and searching anything about call to actions, Instagram Reels, or especially those 2 things together, if they're specifically looking for that, my stuff is going to come up. So I just want to show you an example of like how the first step is really to get visible on Pinterest. And you do that by using your keywords within your pin graphics, as well as if I click on one of these, within your title and your description, right? But if somebody comes here and wants to know more, like, oh, I want to increase my engagement, they'll click through and that's how they land on my blog. But again, if you don't have a blog, this could be them landing on your podcast, them landing on your Instagram, landing on your Facebook, YouTube, like literally anything with a hyperlink is where this will take them. But first, they were searching for call to actions and Instagram Reels together. So it was super specific about the type of people that I'm looking for. Then just an example search, right, of like, how does this show up for somebody who's searching on Pinterest? So I typed into here, maybe a little hard to see, so I'm just going to read it, is call to actions Instagram Reels, right? So if anyone is looking, how do you get more engagement on their Instagram Reels? Maybe they've heard of the term call to actions and they type this in and they're looking for this type of information, then right away, I look, this is where you want to be. When you have pins on Pinterest, you really want to be in this top row. This is where most people are clicking through, right? These are the highly clicked pins on Pinterest. So this one right here that I have, as well as this is one of the pins that we created. If I scroll down a little bit more, I'm also in the 2nd row and then the 3rd row here. And also to know that, like, are you in good company? So looking at some of the other pins around me, so boosting engagement on Instagram is exactly where I want to be. Production tips for Instagram Reels, exactly the type of content that I want to be around. So I know that like my keywords are working here. So from here, somebody's going to come to Pinterest and search for this. And they're going to see my pin, click through, and they're going to get to my blog, right? So the blog that we talked about earlier, and they're going to read this. Now, when I first started this blog, I'm going to get to how we grow our email list. Like, I did not have this piece. This is the call to action within, and the irony here is not lost on me, but this is the call to action that we have on my blog for people to put in their email address and download something. That's how they get onto my email list. I did not have this at first. So I think it's totally okay to not think about like, well, what happens when somebody lands on my blog? I think it's totally okay, like, to just not have thought this all the way through and to not have all of these extra freebies and things created ahead of time. What drove me to even create this, to say like, oh, I think I should come up with a freebie for this. I think I should, what do I want people to do once they're here? I want them to go on my email list. What drove me to this decision was my analytics. So over on Pinterest, when you have a business account, here, you also have insights into your analytics and what are people interested in, what are people searching for. So when I reviewed my analytics last month, I saw that people were clicking on these pins and going to that one blog post several times a day. I had 10 to 20 people a day clicking on these pins and going over to that blog. That type of information showed me that this is the stuff that's a topic that people care about. They want to know more. They want to go deeper. They're actually taking the action. They are qualified searchers on Pinterest that took the time to click over and go read my blog, right? So that to me was like, okay, I need to do something with this content. This is what people are interested in. My analytics, the data, not what I find interesting, not what like some random friend told me is interesting. The data is telling me that this is interesting to people and they want to know more. So my process of thinking was like, okay, I reviewed my analytics. This is the content that people are going in. I don't want people to leave. I saw that they were just leaving the blog. I had no call to action for them. I wasn't leading them to something else. I had to decide, where do I want them to go? And I want you to think about this with your content as well. Like, what type of content, whether it's Instagram, a podcast, YouTube, anything, what type of content are people engaging with the most? And like, how can you turn that into a more actionable thing? Like, what is your goal with that, right? For me, I decided, again, that's how I want to grow. I want to use this to grow my email list. And let's see. So that is what led me to, let me flip the camera again. That is what led me to adding this call to action at the bottom, right? So I just use my email, my email provider, which I use Flowdesk. I did start with ConvertKit. That was free to create these types of things. But with Flowdesk, I was able to create a plugin that I can add to my website here to get people to enter their email address. You can also create a totally separate landing page, which would give you a unique web page that is just this for people to enter their email address. So at the end of my blog, I said, well, how do you want more call to actions? And I spent maybe a couple hours looking on Instagram, looking at different videos and saying like, what are call to actions that people are using? When I look at these reels, what makes me want to click on the caption? What makes me want to click on their link in bio? What are people doing to get people on Instagram through reels? What are they doing to get people to buy their services? What are they doing to get people to engage with them? So I looked through like all sorts of people that I follow, that I love, and like what are their strategies for their call to actions. And I put all of that information inside of a free download and enter their name and email address and boom, download. So that is how they get onto my email list. Literally no tricks here, right? I thought of an idea, a piece of content that I thought was valuable. People did find it valuable. They searched specifically for it on Pinterest. They landed on my blog. I thought strategically, people are landing on this blog. How do I give them more? But also, how do I bring them into my community? These are people that are very interested in this topic, and they are probably very interested in related topics. So the things that I talk about, Instagram and Pinterest, like if somebody is clicking through to join this email list, they want information on that. And I want a one-to-one direct conversation with these people through email. So for you guys, I would really think that your step is to maybe look at what you're already doing. Look at your analytics. What are people engaging with? How do you create, if you don't have a blog or whatever and you want to create new content based off that, and how do you lead people to get onto your email address, onto your email list through that content, right? I really think it starts with looking at your analytics. And then if you want to use Pinterest to do that. So for Pinterest, like a business account to set up, just so that you can look at the analytics to see what people are searching for. Creating a pin in Canva, posting it out there, using using words that, how are people going to find it? What are they looking for? So use those words on the graphic, use them on the title, and then lead them to your, whatever your content is, right? And give them an avenue to enter their email address and join your list. That's just kind of it. That's how it works. There's no like super secret sauce here. And then let's see. Let me just make sure I got all my notes here. So like, okay. Yeah. Just one last point is really like, these are qualified people, right? These are people that chose. You are not tricking people or like saying anything when you do this strategy like through Pinterest. So I just find that super interesting because like if you say something on Instagram, like it's that like a little bit of an emotional connection with you sometimes of like, are you really interested in this? Or are you doing this because like, oh, I like your personality, I like this. And maybe they're not going to be like an immediate buyer or an immediate like contact, or maybe they're not quite the right audience, but for you to join your email list. But people on Pinterest are searching for something very specific. So you know that they are qualified and they are ready to join your community and have that information. So I think that is just a big differentiator with this type of strategy. So if you guys have any questions, if you're catching the replay, please leave the comments below and I will definitely get back to you if you found this helpful. And if you have anything or any questions or want to connect and chat about what your freebie is and maybe how Pinterest can work for you, please drop me a DM and I will definitely get back to you. All right. Thanks, guys.